says live. It does.
Live on YouTube.
All right. Good morning or good afternoon. Thank you for joining us again here today with Alignment Rockford and our live YouTube series on panel discussions with different career and academy and pathways. With me today, I have Inspector Tim Brown with the Rockford Fire Department. He has 12 years on from the Rockford Fire Department, and he's going to talk to us about how he got into his career. I also have Allison Parlapiano. She is with Engine 2 in the Rockford Fire Department, and she just graduated from the academy and started the fire department in December. I also have with me Chad Roth. He is the Fire Science Program Coordinator with Rock Valley College. He's going to give us some good insight onto the next steps and what the Rock Valley College program will look like for students going into the fire science program. And also I have my friend Scott Seavey with me, is helping monitor our YouTube channel. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask our panelists, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat and let us know what questions you have. So Tim, I'm going to go ahead and start with you if you're ready. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the Rockford Fire Department.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tim Brown, born and raised here in Rockford. My firefighting experience, or my initiation into the firefighting experience, is pretty unique. My father was a fireman here in Rockford for 20 years. He did 20 years of service. I always respected the position of firefighter, but didn't necessarily know if it was for me. I have a great friend of mine who was going to test for Rockford Fire. He didn't want to take the test by himself. So I decided to take the test along with him. He ended up in another career. I ended up a fireman. So that's kind of how my career got started. 11 full years in, I'm in my 12th year now. My role's changed a little bit. I've gone from firefighter to inspector here since last September. So my job duties have changed just a little bit, but still a Rockford fireman.
Awesome. Allison, can you tell us a little bit about how you got into the program?
Yeah, so again, I'm Allison. I've only been with Rockford for a few months now. I was in the academy about August through December, and so I just joined company. I went away. I was a little bit different. I didn't have anybody in my family that was a fireman. I didn't have any background in firefighting. I went away and I did the school stuff, and then about 2018, I decided to switch career paths. I was gonna go and I wanted to be a doctor. And then that kind of changed. Something changed in my life to where I switched to this role, and I applied for about 2 years, and here I am. So
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Inspector Brown, can you tell us a little bit about your job as an inspector and what you do?
So my job as an inspector is, it would seem like maybe you had to do the same things every day. My job duties include fire inspections of different businesses around the area. We follow up on complaints, problems that either residents or business owners have noticed, and they'll call downtown, which usually activates us. I'm in the process of learning to do building plan reviews and fire plan reviews as well. So when a new building or renovated building goes up, they usually submit reviews that we view the blueprints on and approve. And then lastly, I'll be going to investigator school this year. So when we do get fire or arson investigations that come through, I'll be going on those here shortly, I hope.
Awesome. Thank you. Chad, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, I'll make it quick. I started in the fire service back in 1994. My dad was a volunteer in Rockton, and I actually went to college. I grew up in Nebraska. I got a degree in psychology, and I was going down that path, and then that kind of changed. So I started to look at a couple different jobs. And the whole time my dad was on a volunteer fire department, I thought that sounds kind of cool. So I gave that a try. And then I was lucky enough to get hired by a career department in 2004. I got hired by the city of Belvedere. I went through Rockford's academy. So I created a lot of relationships with the Rockford firefighters. And then I ended up going to work in Huntley, Illinois, in the suburbs of Chicago. And then in 2015, I had a pretty bad knee injury, which then what made me not able to do the job of firefighting anymore. But then the job at the college came open. So now I get to take the perspective that I had as a firefighter and paramedic and kind of blend that into what I know you guys would need to accomplish to get the job, and then make sure that everybody coming through the college has a good idea of what's expected and how to get to the position that they want to be. So I'm kind of bringing those two careers together. So right now at the college, I pretty much just make sure that anybody that's interested in the world of fire science knows what the expectations are and knows what they have to do to get that job, get that ultimate career when they're done.
Awesome. Thank you, Chad. I appreciate that. Allison, I see you're on mute and walking. Are you able to tell us what excites you about your job?
Sorry, a little switch up. Yeah, so for me, every day's a new day. I'm brand new. So not only am I training and I'm learning every single day, but all the calls and stuff are new to me too. You know, a lot of students and a lot of people that are not in the career, they tend to think that it's just running into burning buildings, and but there's a lot more to that. There's the EMS side, there's all the specialty sides, and I'm brand new. So every single day I'm working on a new project. I find something new to train on and accomplish. And just because I'm out of the academy doesn't mean I'm done. So that's kind of what I'm doing in my career right now.
What are the next steps that you want to take in your career? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I'll still be learning. In this career path, you know, you stay for 20, 30 years, and some people decide to move up and they become officers. Some people stay where they're at. Some people become drivers. Me right now, I'm just focused on learning the job, making sure I can do whatever it is that needs to be done in a day, and just kind of taking it step by step. Hopefully, you know, hopefully I succeed in what I do, and hopefully I'll be here for the next 20, 25 years. So.
Awesome. Inspector Brown, can you tell us what is the most exciting thing about your job?
So the most exciting thing about being an inspector is the opportunity to see a building built up from start to finish. So far that I've learned, anyway. As a consumer, we always see the finished product, right? You go into a store, it's all set up, you shop the merchandise, you leave the store. As an inspector or a plan reviewer, you get to see how each stage of the building process led up to that point. That's intriguing to me. I don't have an architecture background or anything like that, but it's interesting to see how a building is put together and how it's made safe for the people in the community as well.
Could you tell us, is there any really exciting projects that you're working on right now?
So the most exciting one that I've been a part of so far is the new Dick's Sporting Goods. It's actually going across one side of State Street to the other. And it's pretty neat. I'm a sports fan, an avid sports fan, so that helps. But watching that building go up from start to finish as they're putting sprinkler systems in and alarm systems and that sort of thing has been a cool one so far.
Awesome. Chad, you want to tell us something that's really exciting about what you do every day?
I think the biggest kick that I get out of doing the job that I have right now is seeing people come into the college, going through the program, graduating, and then getting that job at the end, like Miss Parlapiano, for instance. When you go through this program, we try and teach you and educate you with all the skills and all that stuff you're going to need. But ultimately, it's about you, like Inspector Brown said, taking that test and going through the process and getting lucky enough to get hired. It's the greatest job in the world, without a doubt. And if you get the nod, if you get lucky enough, man, that's an awesome thing. So I get to see those people come in without ever having any experience and then growing through the program and then going on and getting the job after. That's a pretty cool thing for me.
One of the biggest questions we get is, do you work more as a team or individually? So if it could go, Allison, we'll start with you and go around to Inspector Brown and then to Chad. And you can let us know, is a day more of spending it individually, or do you spend it more as a team?
Yeah, so for me at Station 2, I'm pretty lucky. We have, not only do we have a district chief here, but we have an engine company and a ladder company. So there could be anywhere between 9 to 10 of us here every day. So we have a big family here. We're always together, whether that be training, whether that be going on calls, even to things just like cleaning and eating dinner or eating meals together. So all in all, our officers and the people who've been here a really long time, they push for all of us to be together. How you can't really get a task done by yourself on the fire ground, and knowledge being passed down from one another. That's pretty important too, and that happens during our together time. So I would say this job is mostly about being together, and there's not much that's individual other than your own drive to to succeed and do well.
Awesome. Inspector Brown?
As an inspector, you're an individual inspector, but we operate as a team. There's a number of times where we'll get together and collaboratively bounce ideas and things off of each other. The more experience you have as an inspector, obviously, the bigger your knowledge base at times. So we do operate as a team in general, but a lot of the tasks are done individually.
How about you, Chad?
Well, you guys don't want to know about my job at the college. You guys want to know about the job on the fire department. It is absolutely, unequivocally, without a doubt, a team effort. There isn't a day that goes by in the fire service that you are not working as a team. You may be the best at whatever job skill set that you're trying to do, best paramedic, best technical rescue expert. But if your team isn't working together, the job's not going to get done. It's absolutely a team thing. And the beauty of it is that even if you're having a bad day, your partners are going to be there next to you, and they're going to be able to build you back up, and you're going to be able to feed off of them, and everybody's skills together end up making a positive outcome. So it's, yeah, absolutely a team thing.
So while you're talking to us, Chad, about the program at Rock Valley and about the firefighter, do you want to talk to us a little bit about the program, how students can get into the program, what the steps are that they can take from the high school level to get into the Rock Valley program? Why don't you give us a little bit of information about that for us?
Okay, so we'll start kind of before that. The kicker of the whole fire department career thing is you can't get the job as a career full-time firefighter until you're 21 years old. That's state of Illinois law. That's just the way it is. So what do we do from A to B? You know, we're in high school, we're almost 18 years old, we're getting ready to graduate. What do we do then? So that's where the college comes into play. The college will provide students going through the program with the education that they need. They'll provide with certification standards. So you'll get an EMT certification and license. We'll teach you the skills to be a firefighter, teach you all that stuff so that by the time you're 20 or 21 years old and you can start testing, you've already got that knowledge base there. Then you go to the fire department, and then you get taught the way the fire department likes to operate, the specifics of that particular career in that particular place. The beauty of the fire science degree, as Inspector Brown alluded to earlier, there's a testing process that's involved in getting hired. You take a written test, you take the physical agility test, you go through an interview process. It's a hard thing, right? So 600 plus people might apply for the position, and they may hire 30 out of that big group when it comes time to get the job. So what sets you apart from the other people? The state of Illinois, through state statute or law, says that if you have a degree in fire science or a bachelor's degree in any other field, you get 5 preference points added right to your score. So if we all take the same test and we all score the exact same thing, but Allison has a degree, she automatically gets 5 points and goes higher on that list. When they offer the jobs, the people at the top of the list get offered first. So that degree, in the meantime, between when you're done with high school and when you're ready to take that job as a firefighter, that degree is going to give you a huge advantage because these lists are broken down by hundredths of a point difference. I mean, you're talking 0.01 to 0.02. And if you get 5 points, man, that's right at the top of the list. It helps a lot. So that's one big reason why people come to the program, come to the college to get their degree. And then secondly, what I try to do at Rock Valley is I try to make connections with students and local volunteer fire departments. So in the meantime, between the time that you get hired as a career firefighter and the time you graduate high school, you're going to meet other firefighters and start doing fire stuff on other departments. And that'll just get you some experience. It'll help you realize if it's what you want to do or not. And then it'll help you make that stuff that you're learning in school reinforced so you can actually start doing the job a little better when it comes time to get the career.
And Chad, if I could ask a quick follow-up question on that. One of the things that I think is daunting for students is when they hear the numbers that you just presented and they go, wow, you know, if we have 600 applicants, you know, how many are we actually hiring here, you know? So one of the things we want students, we certainly want our students to have that hometown opportunity here. And you've even mentioned some of the volunteer fire departments in the surrounding communities, which is a great way for students to get experience. If a student gets into the to doing this and they start the process, are there other career avenues that stem out of this that you find yourself, there's that student that discovers for one reason or another, maybe Rockford Fire Department isn't for them, and maybe they don't fully want to be a firefighter, but what other opportunities might there be in the career field?
So the largest, I guess, associated career would be in the world of EMS, I would imagine, being an EMT and a paramedic. And as part of the degree, you're taught how to become an EMT, an emergency medical technician. That's kind of like the first step into the world of emergency medical services. And then another year's worth of schooling, then you become a paramedic. Little more training, more skill set involved. But there's a vast number of opportunities in just that emergency medical field. Working as an EMT on an ambulance. People work at doctor's offices. They're the people that you first meet that come in and take your blood pressure and stuff like that. They might not actually be nurses or physician's assistants. They could very well be EMTs. There's even EMTs in local manufacturing facilities. Woodward Governor, for instance, has medical sectors. Belvedere at Chrysler Corporation has people that strictly work as medical individuals in those facilities. So there's a lot of opportunity just within the medical field. Then you can look at like Inspector Brown does, where there's the inspection side of things. There's a whole insurance world where people will get trained through fire departments. Well, the insurance companies want to inspect after fires happen too. So then you come from that side of the thing too. So there's all different angles that you can go about just stemming from that general fire science education.
Yeah, and it sounds like some of those would be great resume builders as you continue to push for the opportunity to beat the odds and have that great opportunity with Rockford Fire Department.
Yeah, all of it helps. None of it's going to hurt.
We do have a question in the chat. Is there, for the testing, is there a booklet or a study guide that is helpful for the test when they're going to test at the fire department? I look at all of you and you're all smiling. So whoever wants to take it, raise your hand. It's all Tim, if you want to go ahead and take that one, or Chad, whichever.
That I know of, there is no book, no study manual to prepare you for the test. If I could just piggyback onto what Chad said earlier, the more knowledge, the better. For me, I didn't have any of the fire science classes. I wish I could go back and would have taken them. There's so much that repeats itself in the fire industry over time. And a lot of those classes, you see guys that have taken them and they already have a leg up, or they already have a basis while you're getting to learn. So I would absolutely say those classes are beneficial to you, and you learn more about the career. I didn't really think that the EMT, the paramedic would be for me until I started learning it. Once I started learning it, I realized how cool this actually really was. And it's actually one of my favorite parts of being a fireman was becoming a paramedic. So, but no book that I know of.
That's awesome.
And if I could add,
that's great to hear. That's thank you for that, because that's what we want to hear. That's what we want these people, the students, to hear is your story. Go ahead, Chad.
The testing thing is, it's a interesting animal. I guess we could put it that way. Each municipality, each fire department does their own testing. It's not all the same for every fire department in the state. They're similar, don't get me wrong, they're similar tests. They're basically general aptitude tests. So if you take a ACT or an SAT or something along those lines, it's very similar to that. So what people typically do is, if they're not lucky enough to get hired right off the bat, they're going to take these tests over and over again. Rockford tests every 2 years. Huntley tests every 2 years, as does Belvedere. Allison did it. I did it. You just take those tests over and over again. And if you're testing at the same place, the test is the same normally. So you start to learn the test, and then you get better and better as you go. But again, it's an aptitude thing. There's math and reading comprehension and those types of questions out there.
I think it's really important. Yeah, I think it's really important for students to know that it's not just a one and done thing, or it's not just a one department and done thing. I personally applied for many departments, and Rockford, I even applied in 2017, and I went through majority of the process, and I didn't make it the first time, and I learned and I trained and I did more classes through Rock Valley in the 1.5 year time frame before the next time I applied, and then I applied, and here I am. So it's definitely not a you apply once, you don't get it, you're out. I mean, it's a long process, and it's something you got to work hard for, and it's something that you got to take the class and keep expanding your knowledge.
So question to all of you is if I'm watching this and I'm a high school student or I'm in the ages between 16 and 20, and I really want to have this type of career, I really want to get into, I know we've talked about the testing, we've talked about Rock Valley. What is one thing that coming on the personal side, I know you guys have all talked about working hard, but give them one to do things that they could do to prepare themselves to be successful in this career. Allison, we'll start with you.
Oh boy. I think a lot of people see applying for fire departments as a physical thing, which it definitely is. There's a lot of physicality into it, but you can't forget about the mental toughness side. It's not all about the books. It's not all about the physical side, and it's not all about the mental side. It's like this big wheel and this big circle of a combination of all three of those things. So it would be, for me, I think the biggest piece of advice that I would give a high school student is to take what other people tell you, take the criticism, take the knowledge, and grow upon it. This is definitely not a career choice or an application choice to, like I said earlier, it's not a one and done thing. You just got to keep growing and growing and growing. And then when you do get the job or you do start your career somewhere, you still keep growing and growing and growing. So keeping an open mind, and I think that's super important in this job.
Awesome. Chad?
Where do you start?
Tell us your wisdom, Chad.
Your face says it all, Chad. Your face just says it all.
I honestly think the biggest thing that you can do is to refuse to stop learning. And I think that's going to be what gets you there, because like Allison alluded to, because Inspector Brown alluded to, you're always learning stuff. I mean, until the day that I got hurt, 20 years on the job, I didn't stop learning things. You're constantly gaining new skills. You're constantly getting into new specialties, technical rescue and hazardous materials and water, all those kind of fun things. And that's what keeps it interesting, right? So you start learning, and I'm talking high school, start learning. That math class that you say, when am I ever going to use this garbage? Well, it's when you're driving a fire engine and you got to figure out how much water it takes to put those things all help. It all applies. It all comes into it. So don't stop that learning process. Start right now, full steam ahead, keep on going. Even after you get hired, keep going after that until the day you retire from the job. That's when you can take a break, I guess. Just keep pushing.
Awesome. Inspector Brown?
This is going to sound repetitive, but an open mind and I refuse to ever stop learning. Firemen are quirky guys. I think anyone would tell you that. You got to be a little quirky to want to go into a burning building, right? But you got a conglomerate of guys that know a lot about a lot of things. So the more knowledge you can attain coming in, and as you start your career as a fireman, the better fireman you'll ultimately end up being, I believe. You can do just about anything you want to do in the fire service. Like Chad was alluding to, 11 years ago, I would have never thought that I would have been an inspector. But over time, different things have appealed to me. And the more classes you take, the more knowledge you attain, you'll never know what kind of appeal to you until you get there. So an open mind and never stop wanting to learn, for sure.
So the next question I'll ask, and we're coming up towards our end here, but what would be, Chad, I think you can help us out on this on the next steps. What are the next steps? If a student's graduating, how do they apply at Rock Valley? Who can they contact? Questions they can ask, things like that. What are their next steps?
The easiest way is to go to rockvalleycollege.edu. There's a getting started tab that's on the website. It walks you right through it. This is how you apply. This is who you talk to, that kind of stuff. Give me a call. Call me, email me, get a hold of me, and I can walk you through whatever we need to do. That's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do, is help people get from high school into the program and make sure they get the job at the end. So I would say get on the website, take a look at it. You can even look up fire science within the website. We do information sessions where we just kind of talk about stuff like this. Just start asking questions. Really get a hold of an ear of somebody at the college and just start asking how you get started, and you'll get through.
Awesome. I'll go around the table and just see if there's any one thing you'd like to add to our panel discussion today to let our students know and the people that are watching about fire science and fire careers.
And really quickly, Jessica, just so everyone knows, I've put a link in the chat to Rock Valley's Fire Science Information Sessions. So you can go to that link and that will get you connected with Chad.
Okay. Perfect. Dr. Brown, do you just want to give us one last final thought that you'd like to put out there?
100% being a fireman, inspector now is #1 job in the world. Log on, test for different departments. It doesn't have to be Rockford. Of course, we'd love you to be with Rockford, but test for fire departments, test, and be a part of this career. At least see what it's about.
Allison?
Broken record, but best job in the world. I come in from somebody that was in a totally different career path. And went off and was doing something else before doing this. I can't say it enough. As a new person, I'm really grateful for this opportunity to be with Rockford Fire and be on a career department. Best job in the world. Do it.
Chad, give us one. Chad and Scott, you can give us one final thought at the end.
Greatest job in the world. You can't say anything other than that,
sound
man.
like a broken record over there.
I mean, you will not find a more rewarding, more challenging, more, I don't know, best job anywhere. People come to you with their worst day of their lives and expect you to make it better. And then when you do, that's it, man. That's just where it's at. So you won't find a better job. That's all I got.
Awesome.
I think my takeaway from all this conversation, you guys say it's the best job ever, and you gleam when you say it. And I think a part of that is I've heard from each and every one of you that this wasn't something that was handed to you. You earned it. You went out there, you worked hard for it, you pursued it. And I think that's the encouragement that I'm going to give to my students, and I would give to those watching is this is about, it's not a sprint, it's a little bit of a marathon. But when you've earned it, and those that you are serving with around you have earned it with you, that just seems to build a special camaraderie, which I think just makes it a really interesting field. So I appreciate you guys sharing all that with us.
Yeah, sorry, I'm typing a final thought into the chat in the YouTube to make sure if anybody has any follow-up questions, they can reach out to us. I cannot thank you all enough for taking the time out of your day to join us. And if we have any students interested in asking any questions, do you mind me sharing that information to you guys if they have any questions to follow up and ask?
Not at all.
Awesome. Great. If we have any follow-up questions, I'll reach out to you guys again. And I can't thank you all enough for your time, and thank you for what you do and the time you spend and the time you put in our community. So thank you so much. You guys all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.